Hello, everyone. Let me introduce our distinguished guest for today, Ms. Naina Martin. Ms. Naina brings over 22 years of experience with deep expertise in the learning and development space and content development. Her professional journey is especially interesting because she began her career as a counseling practitioner, grounding her leadership approach in psychology and human understanding from the very start. She holds a master's degree in psychology from the University of Madras, which beautifully complements her work in leadership development and organizational transformation. Over the years, she has contributed to organizations such as Aditi Consulting and CareerNet. And she is currently associated with Flex.com, where she continues to shape learning strategy and people development initiatives. With her background in psychology, counseling, and corporate leadership, she brings a unique and practical perspective to emotional intelligence, not just as a concept, but as a lived leadership practice. It's truly a pleasure to have you with us today, Ms. Naina. Thank you for joining in this important conversation.
Thank you so much, Priyanka. It's a pleasure to be part of this initiative. And to quickly set my introduction, and thanks for the wonderful introduction as well. I've been associated with Invicta for a very, very long time now. I think probably 2015 sometime, and I've known Akita and her team of wonderful trainers and content creators, and it's never been. It's been a great experience working with them all the time. They're just spot on when it comes to our program initiatives. And thank you so much for having me on this.
Thank you so much, ma'am. To begin with, my first question to you. You have led teams and initiatives at a senior level. When did you first consciously realize that emotional intelligence was one of your leadership strengths?
I've been a people manager for probably close to 13, 14 years now. So working in business organizations, especially successful business organizations, where impact and outcome is non-negotiable, it's always been a pressure on the teams to deliver. It's not like you have a set of things and you're just asked to deliver, but there's always a pressure to to work towards an impact and an outcome. Every meeting starts with, okay, here's the impact that is expected and here's the outcome that we require. So I realized early on when I started as a people manager that while meeting business expectations is very critical, because obviously that's how leaders look at your performance, aligning and supporting the team is equally important, because you can't alone achieve your results. You need an army behind you, right? So the turning point for me in my career was on seeing how performance improved when I started focusing on understanding the team, their motivation, their stressors, and aligning with their emotion when we talk, right? And it became clear that emotional intelligence is not just soft skills, but it is a leadership strength that helps you drive results. Yeah.
True, ma'am. Ma'am, having said that, emotional intelligence is widely discussed but often loosely defined. In your view, what does emotional intelligence truly look like in a leader?
Well, for me, first of all, I come from a psychology background. So it's been like 20, 25 years I have been with the subject right from my college. So I think every part of my subject, you have studied this. You kind of get into the science and to the art of this subject. So emotional intelligence is something that probably in the last 25, 30 years, you've been associated with this term, right? Mm-hmm. And for me, emotional intelligence in a leader specifically started, coming up after, of course, having entered the corporate world, where, this was the topic of conversation everywhere and every time, right? For me, again, as I said, emotional intelligence in a leader is being able to show up in everyday moment, right? Staying calm under pressure, listening without judgment, and responding, instead of reacting to situations.
Correct.
Uh, it's the ability to read the room,
Hmm?
to understand what my team needs to perform, and to adjust my approach accordingly. So, probably being flexible is the key here, right? And as a leader, for me, as I said, the organizations that I have worked, outcome has always been non-negotiable, you know. And at the same time, you also know that you have a team who's, helping you in this journey, and to be able to create a sense of trust, to provide them with clarity, and providing that psychological safety becomes very, very important to be, able to translate emotional intelligence into an action space, right? And it's a tough combination, to be able to balance accountability and empathy, and that is what will help you move forward.
That's right. Ma'am, do you think women often demonstrate strong emotional intelligence in organizational settings?
I would like to believe emotional intelligence is not gender bound. Uh, I have met male counterparts, male colleagues in my career who have been extremely empathetic and sensitive, and they have been great colleagues to work with. So I don't believe that it is very gender bound. Having said that, women often appear stronger in emotional intelligence, probably because they have more opportunities to practice it, right? Their lived experiences, probably managing multiple, expectations at home, at work, or in social, arrangements. It helps to build perspective. They kind of probably are more empathetic, and they kind of probably become resilient, And I think social conditioning also plays a role, with women being encouraged from a very young age to listen, to collaborate, and to read those emotional cues, right? So it's not about gender ability, I would say, but it is more about exposure and experience.
You have been in the corporate sector for such a long time. Tell us, when we talk about emotional intelligence in leadership, is it considered as a softer aspect of leadership rather than, terming it as something which is strong and associated with, stronger leadership things? What do you think? Emotional intelligence is considered as a softer, aspect of leadership. Do you agree with that?
I think I can relate to this statement in particular. The reason being, initially when I started leading a team, one of the common feedback that came to me early on as a people manager by my seniors was that I'm not hard enough on my team, or I'm being too soft on them, or I'm always supporting them and not thinking on the other side. Yes, for sure. I think as a perception, yes. Often you're mistaken as being for being soft, but if you ask me personally, I think that has been my greatest strength. Empathy isn't about lowering standards, I would say. It is about understanding what your team needs, and being able to walk with them, keeping in perspective the goal that you're set to achieve, right? Balancing empathy and I would say accountability is equally important. As I said, it's important to listen, to set clear expectations with your team, and hold your team accountable. And not just the team, but also myself. It's not just saying that, okay, here is something we have to deliver, and you just have your team doing it for you. But it's about us doing this together, and to letting the team and your stakeholders know that we are here together as a team, and we are working together as a team.
True.
Yeah.
Can you shed some light on how emotional intelligence is directly influences business outcome, whether it's in terms of performance, retention, culture, or innovation? How is emotional intelligence directly associated to these business outcomes?
Uh, well, yes, definitely. Emotional intelligence plays a very, very significant role. As I already mentioned, uh, you need your team to deliver results. You're working with your stakeholders day in, day out, having these conversations, getting the vision, getting the goals set for yourself and for your team. And of course, every goal comes with an impact and every goal comes with an outcome, right? And when you go back to your team, if you're able to step up and give the complete picture to your team about what is the organization expecting, maintain transparency, and what is your expectation and what is in it for your team, uh, definitely I think you have your team backing you up. And this has been, as I said, my experience. I have worked with business organizations, specifically successful business organization, where the pressure is always on being able to deliver not just the quality but also under timelines, right? And I probably would never have been able to pull this off had it not been for a supportive team. So it's some kind of a mutual thing that happens, right? It's a mutual relationship. You understand your team, and when they step up, when they come to you and say, "Hey, Naina, I think today is not my day. There is not something that I can do. I'm just not able to think." You just go back and say, "Hey, just go back, relax, do your stuff, and then let's see tomorrow. We are in this together. I'll talk to the stakeholder and we'll figure this out together," right? It's not just about you, the team member who is held accountable, but as I said, it's also self as a manager, that you're both working in this together. So I think it's very important for as a leader to show up with your team, setting clear expectation, maintaining the transparency with them, and letting them know that we are in this together, and then to let the stakeholder know that together we are going to drive results for you, and doing this together collectively.
So, ma'am, do you believe emotional intelligence is something that one is born with, or can it be intentionally developed? If yes, what practices have helped you strengthen yours?
Well, I don't think emotional intelligence is something we are born with. It can definitely be developed with intention, as you rightly mentioned. For me, the biggest shift, comes from simple, consistent practices over a period of time. It's not something overnight you kind of turn into an empathetic leader, right? Simple, consistent practices over a period of time, as I put, being able to listen to your team members, pausing before reacting, responding instead of reacting, trying to understand your team's perspective or team members' perspective. I think these are some of the key elements that probably practiced consistently over a period of time will develop you into a more sensitive leader, I would say. I know this is easier said than done. Again, as I said, if I look back my journey about 15 years back, probably when I started managing teams, I can't say that this was the same person who was leading the team. I probably would have had my, share of, annoyance. Okay, hey, why wasn't this done on time? We are accountable. We need to do this. We need to do that. Versus today, where I'm more collaborative with my teams. If somebody is not able to do something, I try to understand, hey, what is stopping us from doing this? Can we do something? Can we co-solution this together if you're not able to do something? And I can say that, yes, it has definitely helped, and probably I have evolved over a period of this journey, to be the kind of leader that I am. And it's a work in progress. You can't still say, hey, we are in different situations every day, and it's about thinking about that situation objectively, again thinking, reflecting upon it, and then kind of aligning yourself accordingly, in terms of how I can respond, what is the best way I can respond to this situation, thinking about yourself, thinking about your team, and about the overall probably goal in perspective. Yeah.
That's right. Ma'am, what advice would you give to women leaders who want to leverage emotional intelligence confidently without worrying about being labeled as too emotional?
Well, I personally don't believe in giving advices. I don't think I'm really good at giving advice. But again, to your point, as a leader, I would say, whether it's a woman leader or a male leader, one should, not fear the perception of others being, looking at you as being too soft or too emotional, right? I think that is very, very important. I would like to say that emotional intelligence is not anything about emotion, right? It is more about awareness, right? It's more about being aware of your approach, your triggers, about how you respond to situations, and approaching it with clarity and being able to influence your team members with transparency. So I think it is completely okay to be compassionate. It's my experience. As I said early on in my career, when I was told I need to, be more assertive, be more, strong, hard on the team, it was something very difficult for me to do that, because it just I could not reason it out. Hey, why? When somebody is saying they are not able to do something, how can you push them to do it? So today where I stand, if someone does step up, come up to me and say, this is not possible to be done today, I may be losing a day, but in the long run, I'm able to get the best results the next day in a shorter period of time, because the team member holds himself or herself accountable because you gave them that flexibility, right? So I think leaders should be more self-aware. They should practice listening not just for the sake of waiting for the other person to finish the conversation, but to be able to respond appropriately to that situation. And I think when you combine compassion, confidence, and consistency, someone just being emotional, but rather as being effective, I think that's what I would sum it up.
Nice, thank you. Now let's move ahead to the rapid fire round. So my first question to you, ma'am: emotional intelligence in one word.
Awareness.
Okay. My second question to you, ma'am:
Okay.
the most underrated leadership skill today.
Listening, patience.
Very true. Very true. My third question to you, ma'am: one behavior that instantly builds trust in a team.
Transparency. And probably consistently being transparent, not selectively.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah.
A leadership habit women should stop apologizing for.
Being empathetic. Being empathetic, I think.
Okay, that's nice. Yes. And kindly finish this sentence for us, ma'am. Empathy becomes power when?
When it creates clarity, when it creates trust, and you don't have to compromise. Probably that's when we drive results.
Absolutely, ma'am. Thank you so much. Today's conversation reminds us that emotional intelligence is not being emotional. It is about being intentional. It is the ability to lead with clarity, courage, and connection, especially when it matters the most. Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing your insights and experiences so generously with us. This has been both insightful and inspiring. Thank you again, ma'am.
Thank you, Priyanka. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you.